The Great Famine in Ireland was a natural disaster that started with a potato blight outbreak. However, many of its disastrous effects were man-made, as the British government did not effectively deal with the famine. Potato blight broke out in the United States and spread to Europe by ship. The blight spread to Ireland, and I wonder why famine only occurred in Ireland, and so many innocent Irish people lost their lives. In modern times, there have been 3 famines in Ireland: 1740, 1847 to 1852, and 1879. The second famine, which hit the Irish people the hardest, is called the Great Famine. Due to exploitation by the British government, Ireland had little food other than potatoes when the potato disease broke out. In 1171, King Henry II of England received official authority as Lord of Ireland through a papal edict. From this time, England's rule over Ireland began, and this soon led to a great tragedy in Ireland. In the years following the onset of British rule, the position of the Irish steadily declined. Their place was increasingly taken by English or Scottish Protestants. Most Irish people declined into poverty and had to live as tenant farmers, farming on land belonging to landlords living in England. Two-thirds of Irish people cultivated less than 60 hectares of land, while some landowners owned as many as 30,000 hectares. Later, in the 19th century, half of all the land in Ireland was owned by just 400 landowners. Potatoes were introduced to Ireland in the late 16th and early 17th century. Potatoes are hardy plants that grow well on barren land and less affected by the climate, and help the poor avoid starvation in times of severe famine. With the technology available at the time, potatoes could be stored for up to 10 months, and over 16% of them rotted during that time, so long-term storage was very difficult, and they were often not subject to tax or farm rent.
On top of that, the production yield per unit of area was also very good. So the potato got through the 1740 famine and gradually became a staple food. After the introduction of the potato, Ireland's population grew steadily, reaching around 8 million by the 19th century.
By the mid-19th century, the potato had become synonymous with an important lifeline for the Irish. Nearly 1 million poor Irish farmers and pieceworkers paid taxes on all harvests from their land and barely managed to live on potatoes from vegetable gardens.
This condition is the so-called potato wage system, where you are paid in potatoes. Also, by 1845, potatoes accounted for 1/3 of Ireland's total crop production, and potatoes were grown on 1/3 of all arable land.
The vast majority of Irish people at this time ate potatoes and buttermilk as staples. Buttermilk is the leftover residue from making butter. Average adult farmers often ate several kilograms of potatoes a day, so potatoes were literally a lifeline.
In these conditions, potato blight broke out in Europe in 1845. Potato blight is a species of umacid. Umicids usually live in moist environments and live by decomposing plant and animal matter.
Potato blight multiplies rapidly on potatoes and causes them to rot quickly. This bacterium is spread by the wind or by seeping into the soil through rainwater. The bacteria proliferate more easily in a humid and hot environment, and in 1845, Ireland was exceptionally hot and it rained frequently.
Please click the like button, write a comment, and click subscribe button. Thank you so much.
The blight seeping into the ground through rainwater quickly infected the potatoes. Infected potatoes will soon begin to rot, with dark spots appearing on the ends of a leaf and stem. There was an even more serious problem because, like asymptomatic coronavirus patients, some plants enter the dormant state without showing any symptoms. Farmers used asymptomatic potatoes as seed potatoes for the following year's crop. Due to the nature of the potato plant maintaining the genetic traits of the seed potato, the practice was like raising a future plague potato. In the end, in the winter of 1846, the potato harvest of that year became destructive, leading to food shortages and large-scale starvation. The problem was very serious. A priest who witnessed the spread of potato blight at the time left this message in a letter. From Cork to Dublin, potato flowers were in full blossom. It was clear that a good harvest would come. However, within a week, all of them had rotted away, and a rotten smell permeated the field. At first, spots started to appear on the leaves, and in an instant, the entire field turned black as if it had been burned. Even in an emergency situation where people were dying from food shortages in Ireland, wheat, meat, and various foods produced in Ireland continued to be exported to England, which was really absurd. At one time, there was an argument that the Great Famine could be overcome if only food exports were blocked. But recently a study came out arguing that the damage of the Great Famine could not have been prevented even if exports had been blocked. Even so, it was not a humane act to continue exporting food in a situation where much of Ireland was starving to death. As we saw before, since potatoes became a staple food, this was not the first time famine had occurred in Ireland.
There was also a major famine in 1740 to 1741, 100 years before the Great Irish Famine. However, the British government's response had not improved at all since then.
In 1842, potato farms in the eastern United States were devastated by a large-scale potato blight.
This plague quickly spread throughout North America, then spread via ships to all of Europe, and spread to Ireland. In the fall of 1845, shortly after potato blight broke out in Ireland, a countermeasure meeting was held.
At this meeting, Irish representatives asked the British government to impose a grain export prohibition to prevent grain from being removed from Ireland. At the meeting, they also asked for funds to be raised by collecting taxes, and then to use the money to buy grain and import it to Ireland.
However, the British government refused to take action immediately, declaring that Ireland's reports were exaggerated and inaccurate. They thought the Irish were making a fuss. The British government's poor measures at that time brought about a great disaster. Thank you for watching the video, The Irish Potato Famine, Part 1, provided by History and Current Events. Part 2 will come out soon. I'm Rebecca. Olivia, Mia, April, Lydia, Julia, and Tony have contributed so far as narrators. Thank you.